Pasta bolognese has to be one of the most popular Italian dishes, but sadly, it takes forever to make. Well, I've come up with a really easy version that you can actually make for a weeknight meal. I'll show you how to make it. So first, I've got 2 tablespoons of oil that I've heated in a pan, and 1 pound of ground sirloin. I'm just gonna put it right in the pan. Start with 4 cloves of chopped garlic. That's about 4 teaspoons. And then oregano, which is sort of a classic, but I'm adding a lot, a tablespoon. Just like that. I always use dry oregano because I think fresh is too strong, but I grind it between my hands to release the oils. And a little bit of hot pepper. I use about 1/4 teaspoon, but as much as you like. Okay, next is wine. I use a really dry Chianti. And it's going to bring great flavor to this. And then I'm doing something else at the end with a little bit of wine. Right at the end, I throw a little bit of red wine into the bolognese before I serve it. And there's something about that wine that gives an incredible flavor. But right now, just 1 cup. Okay, next, tomatoes. You can't have bolognese without tomatoes. I use 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. And if you can get San Marzano tomatoes, it's a kind of tomato, not a brand. They're really the best Italian tomatoes. And to give it a little more intensity, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So that's really condensed tomato. Lots of salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of salt. And then 1½ teaspoons of pepper. And this is going to cook for about 10 minutes. Bring it to a boil, let it simmer away on top of the stove, and let all those flavors cook together. I'm going to add a few more things to the bolognese sauce. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. It's an unusual spice, but it really goes well with tomatoes. 1/4 cup of fresh chopped basil. Right into the pasta. I'm going to add a little bit of cream, just 1/4 cup of cream, just to give it a little richness. I never knew anything that cream hurt. And 1/4 cup of red wine. This is where I add it at the end. And it just gives it a little edge. If you're worried about not cooking off all the alcohol, you certainly don't have to add it. You can really smell all the spices and the wine. This is just going to simmer away for about 8 to 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get the fresh parmesan ready. You want the pasta to drain, but you don't want it to be really dry. How good is that? I'm going to pour all the sauce on it. Now tell me that doesn't look good. 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese on top, or as much as you like. I'm going to put a little basil on top. I'd love to know what the ingredients are. Fresh basil's got a nice sort of like spicy quality to it, so that's going to be fantastic. Give it a big toss, and this is why the orecchiette is so great, because the sauce just gets caught in all those little shells. I think I need a big bowl. A little more Parmesan cheese. Big spoon. And I'd say, buon appetito. Ooh, this looks good. Weeknight Bolognese, that is delicious.